Two people open a bank account on the very same day. Same zero balance, same city, same size paycheck. Now, run the clock forward 10 years. One of them owns their home, has money quietly working while they sleep, and actually sleeps fine. The other one is still one rough week away from everything falling apart. Same starting line, completely different finish. And I am here to tell you that the difference was not luck, and it was not the paycheck. It came down to a small handful of decisions that almost nobody is ever taught how to make. Today, we fix that. Quick housekeeping before we go deep. I am not a financial advisor. I am a very well-dressed cartoon who landed this anchor chair because the man who owns this entire building happens to be my dad. So take everything you hear today as motivation and direction, not as personal financial advice. When it is time for real money moves, sit down with a licensed human who has a last name printed on a business card. Good. That is the last joke for a while. From here, I am all business. Let us start with the puzzle. How does one person turn nothing into something while another person handed a head start still ends up stuck? For a long time, people assumed it was income. Earn more, win the game. But high earners go broke all the time, and quiet, ordinary earners build real wealth all the time. So income is not the answer. The real answer starts somewhere less obvious. It starts with how you think about money. Most people treat money like air in a sinking room. Scarce, frightening, something to grab and hold and protect. People who build wealth treat money differently. To them, a dollar is not just something to spend or hoard. A dollar is a worker. Put it in the right place, and it goes out and earns more dollars on your behalf. That single shift from money as a thing you cling to into money as a tool you direct is the foundation everything else is built on. And here is the uncomfortable part. The skills that make this click, how money grows, how to manage it, how to make it work for you, were almost certainly never taught to you in school. That is not your fault. But from this moment forward, it is your responsibility. Hey, quick gut check. Still locked in with me? Good. Because this next stretch is the exact spot where most people drift off and stay stuck for another 10 years. Not you. Eyes up. Let us keep building. So, what actually separates the people who build wealth from the people who stay in place? It is not a silver spoon. It is a set of habits. And the good news is that every single one of them can be learned. The first is a willingness to take smart, calculated risk. Watch Tobin. He has a steady job, a little saved, and a real chance to bet on a skill he has been sharpening for years. Everyone around him calls it reckless. He runs the math anyway. He measures the downside, makes sure he can survive a loss, and then he moves. That is the difference. Builders do not gamble blindly, and they do not freeze either. They size up the risk and they act. The second habit is endurance. Building wealth is not a sprint. It is a long, unglamorous climb. Watch Tobin again. He tries something and it fails. He adjusts and tries again, and it fails again. Most people quit right here at the exact moment the lesson was about to pay off. Tobin does not. He treats every failure as tuition, not defeat. Years later, the thing everyone said would never work becomes the thing that changes his life. The setbacks were never the end of the story. They were the price of admission. The third habit is hunger to learn. Builders stay curious on purpose. They read, they listen, They ask the questions that make them look like a beginner, because looking like a beginner for 1 minute beats staying broke for a lifetime. They never assume they already know enough. They understand that in money, the thing you do not know is usually the thing quietly costing you the most. But underneath all 3 habits is the real engine, and it is the mindset itself. It is the decision to see a failure as a lesson instead of a wall. It is the patience to understand that wealth is a journey, not a finish line. It is the belief that you, specifically, are capable of building this. That belief is not a bonus feature. It is the starting requirement. Now, let us talk about the single most underrated tool in this entire game: financial literacy. I know, the phrase sounds like a tax form, so forget the phrase. Think of it as the instruction manual for money, the one nobody bothered to hand you. It simply means understanding how money actually works, how to earn it, how to manage it, how to invest it, and how to keep it. Without that manual, you are driving at night with the headlights off. You might be moving, but you have no idea what is coming. With it, you can finally see the road. You stop being a passenger in your own financial life, and you grab the wheel. Watch Tobin one more time. He was not born knowing any of this. He just started learning the rules early. Not because he was gifted, but because he was curious and refused to stay confused. He learned the difference between an asset, something that puts money into his pocket, and a liability, something that pulls money out. Then he made himself a simple rule: buy more of the first, carry less of the second. He learned why a small amount saved and invested today can quietly grow into a large amount later. That is compound growth, and it is the closest thing to magic that money has. Tobin's real edge was never a secret stock pick. His edge was that he understood the rules of the game he was playing. And here is the most important thing about this manual. It is not reserved for the rich. It is for everyone, no matter where you started or what your account says right now. Understanding how money works opens doors that money alone never could. So pick up the manual. It is genuinely never too late to start, and the more you understand, the more you grow. Here is where most people fall short, and it is not where you would expect. They learn, they plan, they watch the videos, they read the threads, they nod along, and then they do nothing. Knowledge on its own is a blueprint, and a blueprint, no matter how detailed or how brilliant, has never once built a house. You can hold the perfect plan in your hands and still sleep outside in the rain. The blueprint only matters the second you pick up the hammer. Action is the hammer. So what does the hammer look like in real life? It is unglamorous, and that is the point. It is saving a slice of every paycheck, even a small one, before you spend the rest. It is putting money into an investment account, even while retirement feels 100 years away. It is choosing, again and again, to put your money somewhere it can grow instead of letting it sit there doing nothing. None of these moves feel dramatic in the moment. That is exactly why they work. Every dollar saved and every dollar invested is one more nail in the frame. And over time, those small, repeated actions compound into something you can actually live in. A little today becomes a lot later. That is not a slogan. That is just math doing its job patiently. Now, swinging the hammer takes courage. It means risking that you might hit your thumb. It means facing setbacks where people can see them. But that is where the real growth happens, and not just the growth in your account. You grow in discipline. You grow in confidence. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start. So do not just collect blueprints. Do not just dream about the house. Pick up the hammer and start building today, even if the first swing is clumsy. Let us bring it home. We started with 2 people and the same empty account, and we found that the gap between them was never luck. It was mindset, the choice to treat money as a tool and yourself as capable. It was literacy, finally reading the manual nobody handed you. And it was action, picking up the hammer instead of just admiring the blueprint. Mindset, knowledge, and action, those 3 working together are the entire engine. Miss any one of them and the engine stalls. Run all 3 and the math starts working in your favor instead of against you. The path to wealth was never a secret reserved for special people. It asks for patience, it asks for commitment, and it asks you to keep learning, but it leads somewhere real. Freedom, options, a life that you actually chose. The starting line is wherever you are sitting right now, and the only person who can take the first step is you. Before you go, look down. The links below are loaded. Free ebooks that explain this stuff like a real person would. Financial calculators that do the scary math so your brain does not have to. And tools built to actually push you forward. Think of it as me slipping you the cheat sheet I am technically not supposed to hand out. Tap them. Your future self is already writing me a thank you note. If this helped, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next one finds you. Elevate your life with Jetset Wealthstyle. Until next time, stay sharp and stay opulent.